I figure it's probably about time to upload a YouTube video. It's been about 3 months now, and to be honest with you, I just haven't really gotten around to it. If you've watched my last video that I uploaded, you know what's going on. Life's just a little busy, but we're back today in the Fw-190A1, a 3.0 German fighter, and I really enjoy this plane. It's quite a lot of fun, and really there's quite a few 3.0s that are really enjoyable to play for a number of reasons, really being the matchmaker. Planes like the P-39N, granted it's 2.7, it really could be 3.0 or 3.3, the Fw-190A1, the Yak-1B, and the Key 44-2 Premium in the Japanese tech tree. They're all airplanes at 3.0 that really could be higher battle rating, given the fact that they don't really struggle in the full up tiers like most planes will. If you go an entire battle rating higher, then you're almost bound to have a difficult time. The 0.7 battle rating and of course the 4 planes that are an entire battle rating above you usually are a very considerable gap in performance to where it's like, dang, I just really gotta hope he messes up. But in these 3.0 aircraft that I've mentioned, of course specifically today the Fw-190A1, you can get a 4.0 game and still hang with everyone. Sure, you might be in slight disadvantages in some ways here and there, but for the most part it's not so bad to where it's like you may as well just quit the game like a lot of the planes are in War Thunder. And let's address the elephant in the room. I'm cleaning up basically this entire lobby. I think we end up with 9 kills in this game because it's a full down tier into 2.0. And that's the other awesome thing, is your down tiers are in 2.0, where it's literally people's first time playing War Thunder in many cases, and they've just researched their first plane that isn't a biplane and have no idea what they're doing. So if you enjoy just like listening to music and mind-numbingly clicking on people out of the sky, then maybe you should consider some of these 3.0 power planes. But don't worry, because you do get your fair share of competitive matches where your adversary aircraft are quite capable, as well as the players up in those 3.7 and 4.0 games. The main thing though is, again, you really aren't that outmatched. It's very easy for you to still hang with everybody, and so in general the matchmaker is extremely friendly to planes like the Fw-190A1. In this kind of a matchup, I pretty much have all of the advantages just based on the fact that I'm way faster than pretty much every plane on the other team. I climb a lot better than almost all the planes on the other team, if not all of them. This match was recorded in like May, so I don't really remember everyone that I was playing against at the time, but basically what you see me doing is just target prioritization based on who presents themselves as the easiest target to me. Granted, again, they're all going to be easy targets. I'm in a Focke-Wulf A1, and I'm just gunning down random French planes that nobody even knew what they were until it came to War Thunder. So, for example, that situation right there, I had 2 guys fighting, or trying to kill me anyways. They weren't really fighting me. And I just climbed away because I had way more speed. I could just pitch up and run away from them. They have a lot less speed to be able to keep pointing their nose and shooting at me. They'll run out of speed trying to pull lead to hit me before I run out of speed dodging their shots and reacting to them. So just pitch straight up, and as they're stalling out, essentially you're just picking the easier target, who's diving away from you less, who is kind of just leveling out and turning in one straight little circle. Things like that, that's what you're thinking about, because anytime you have a numbers situation, that's all this really is a numbers game. Try to eliminate as many people as quickly as possible, and in that case, it doesn't matter how good the other plane is most of the time. Reality is you just want to kill the most easy target available to you, because a 2 versus 1 versus 2 bad planes is still usually a tougher situation than a 1 versus 1 of an equal plane. And so in these down tier matches, I pretty much just climb at 15 degrees. I don't do anything extreme. I don't need the massive altitude advantage. If people are higher than me, you're in a Fw-190A1, in a 2.0 down tier, you can really just put it in a straight line and run away in most cases, and the altitude isn't a huge deal. Mainly I climb at that 15 degree mark because you can get enough speed to where you can kind of get ahead of your team to kill everyone on the other team before your teammates get there. But at the same time, you do get a little bit of altitude as well. So that's just the sweet spot I find when I'm going to be super aggro in these down tier games, to try to get as many kills as I possibly can, try to hear that aircraft destroyed sound, that little ding, as much as I possibly can, and see those sweet silver lines pop up on the screen as well. Speaking of silver lines, if you are in need of silver lines and you are in the market for a premium aircraft in War Thunder, might I recommend you using my DECAL and discount link in the description down below. If you use that link, you will get 3% off of anything you buy in the GAIJIN store, including Golden Eagles or premium packs, as well as get this cool decal on screen, and I would really appreciate it because you're supporting me directly as a content creator. Thank you. And at this point in the match, there's only one guy left. He's in an F2A Buffalo, which is basically a non-threat in the Fw-190, unless you're already fighting somebody and he comes in like third parties or something like that, sure. But in this situation, it's at the exact opposite. He's just pitching straight up for my teammate, gives me the freest kill ever, and gives me one final kill. So I'm really just showing you this gameplay because, one, everyone loves a high kill game, and two, it kind of shows you the enjoyable matchmaker that you could, well, if you enjoy this type of thing, you know, if you're like a bully or you enjoy torturing animals or something weird like that, then you'll probably enjoy this too. But what happens when you get matched up into a higher battle rating game? For example, people your own battle rating or even higher, like the P61 for example, or the Key 44-2 at 3.7, or the P63. The P63 is honestly one of the most scary planes to fight in the Fw-190A1 in my opinion, and the Key 44-2 is right up there as well. That's a pretty annoying plane to fight against. But the Focke-Wulf, of course, is very fast for the battle rating, but when you're up in these battle ratings where you're, again, against like a P63, your speed advantage is a little bit nullified. The P63 is going to keep up with you very well, it's going to climb with you very well, and it's going to turn better than you in most cases. If you're in a plain old 1v1 where nobody really has an advantage going into it, you're pretty much on equal speed, equal altitude, the P63 is probably going to clean you up because its turning advantage is enough that it's probably going to be pulling all of the angle and positioning on you that it needs to kill you, and there's nothing you can really do about it except just run away and not engage it. But I guess the entire point of air realistic battles and this big team environment is to try to set yourself up in situations where you're not fighting on equal terms and you can actually get yourself an advantage. And the cool thing about the Focke-Wulf being a 3.0 in this up-tiered situation is that, like I said, it can actually hang with these planes. So you're not going to be having people climbing way higher than you. You're not going to be having people that are going to be way faster than you, and there's absolutely no getting away from them. If you just manage your positioning in the Focke-Wulf, you use your teammates' positioning as well. Think long and hard, you might even say ponder your target prioritization and who you need to be going after for, who you need to dive after, when to keep your altitude, when not to keep your altitude, all that kind of stuff. Then the Focke-Wulf can still definitely hang in these 3.7 matches. Do as I say, not as I do, because if I see myself a bomber just sitting at altitude all by himself, and I'm trying to get as many kills as possible in any given game, I'm gonna go for him, sorry. So I go after the SB2C, he doesn't look like he's really gonna be like a big deal. I'm not throwing the game by chasing this guy. I'm gonna be able to keep some altitude, and I'm really not at risk of getting third-partied by attacking him. However, my aim has been absolutely atrocious. His gunners are at a risk of killing me. He also has 20mm cannons himself, I believe, so if I give him a lucky shot and he capitalizes on that, that could be very bad for me. Thankfully though, he ends up just flat spinning due to the damage, the severe damage that I caused him, as well as maybe my teammate rammed him. I'm not really sure, but I do end up killing him a little bit late to the party on that because now there are P63s that are higher altitude than me, which I don't really like, but again, it's not the end of the world. You can still kind of level with them in that aspect, and especially so if he's going to dive away at your teammates, right? And so we just move along, try to look at who we need to engage next. The fight down there on the ground next to my teammates would be a good one to win, and I'd love to be able to help them because anytime you can keep your teammates alive, if nothing else, they're bait and they're targets for the other team to go for instead of you, so that's always awesome. The problem is that they're literally already on the deck and there's plenty of people left on the other team. For example, this P63A that is at altitude, at least has some altitude, so if I just run straight to the deck and that P63 dies on me, well, he pretty much has every single advantage he would ever need to kill me, and I'm not going to risk it. Especially now that I kind of have two P63s as well as a good old Sakine following me. Now the Sakine alone is obviously not a threat, but if I have to fight other people and I'm getting into some kind of long drawn out stall fight or something like that, then the Sakine is going to be a problem because he's going to keep me from doing that. So again, in these kind of situations, you just want to try to find somebody to eliminate as quickly as possible. It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter what plane they're in. If they're an easy target and you can capitalize on it, then just capitalize on it, because you want as few guns possibly pointing at you as possible. So the F6F at the time seemed like the easiest target for me to take out there. It was close, I did almost whiff and miss him, which would have been bad, but we end up getting the shot. We kind of eliminate the F6F from the battle there. And sure, he's not a P63, he's not nearly as threatening to me as a P63 is. However, again, anytime you can get somebody out of the fight is a good thing for you, regardless of the plane. And so that can give me a lot more time and energy to direct toward the P63, and I guess by extension the Sakine, because he really wants to be involved in this battle right now. I'm not really worried about the Sakine, as you could have guessed. I just take the P63 into some kind of vertical spiral because I had considerably more energy than him going into it, so I'm able to do this. And of course, the landing flaps on the Fw-190s are something that's kind of special and kind of funny. The Focke-Wulf itself doesn't really turn that well. I mean, it doesn't turn bad, but most things are going to be able to get inside of your circle as a Focke-Wulf player, unless you're in landing flaps. If you're in landing flaps, you can kind of super aggro into people's turn circles, but of course you're going to lose speed extremely rapidly. However, in this situation, in these low speed prop hang situations like this, where we're kind of just stalling out, the Focke-Wulf is going to generate more power at these low speeds. I'm going to get more control for my airframe, and I'm going to be able to flip myself around with the flaps quicker than the P63 is going to be able to flip into me every single time. The P63 performs really poorly on low speeds, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it is a prop issue. It's been a while since I've watched this particular Defin video. I do need to brush it up a little bit, but if memory serves, the P63 performs pretty poorly at low speed because prop efficiency at low speed is kind of garbage. And the Focke-Wulf, on the other hand, feels pretty good on low speed. It will hang you in the air for quite some time, especially in those landing flaps, so it lets you just kind of float up into those stalls and make sure that something like a P63, for example, stalls first. Of course, be extremely cautious anytime you do stall fighting maneuvers or anything like that, because it's very easy to misjudge somebody's energy state going into it. They might have a lot more energy than you anticipated. They might be able to float on their landing flaps more than you anticipated and pull just enough angle to get one good shot in, and then you are absolutely fried. And it's a pretty frustrating way to die. I do it sometimes still. I've been playing this game for over 10 years, and sometimes you just misread the situation and just hand yourself to the enemy on a silver platter. So anytime, again, you do stall fighting, it's pretty easy to mess up. For example, you saw me kind of doing a really wide turn around and above this P63, and he was able to pitch up and try to shoot me a little bit, and had he had just a little bit more energy, he may have been able to give himself longer trigger time to adjust his shot and be a little more accurate, or he may have just hit me outright and be able to pull enough lead. So it's very tricky. You do have to be able to read speeds and energy states very effectively and consistently. It's easy to mess up, so I'm just warning you. Of course, if they're pitching straight up for you, like a lot of guys have been doing this game, it kind of does most of the work for you. At that point, you just have to try to not fly in front of their guns. But even that can sometimes be difficult for people like me, so all that's left in this initial fighting furball area is this Sakine. A lot of the enemy team has already RTB'd, I believe, and they are on their way back to the combat zone right now, such as this other P63. And now that P63 spotted, I'm kind of feeling the pressure. I'm like, I need to kill the Sakine right now because I want to get rid of him. I need him out of the match. I don't want him to return to base and have to deal with him later. But of course, I miss most of my shots. I am down to just my machine guns, granted. And it is 4 8mm Mauser machine guns, which can be effective if you get enough trigger time, but if you're just getting simple little grazing pot shots like that, high aspect shots, and some kind of dogfighting scissor scenario or something along those lines, they're not the most effective guns, obviously. Thankfully, the Sakine does end up going down. Honestly, his plane probably just fell out of the sky at that point because it can barely fly as is without any damage. So if you get any kind of effective fire into the Sakine, it's probably going to fall out of the sky at some point. And so now I just have to worry about this P63. The problem is that he has considerably more energy than me right now. He's going a lot faster, I can tell, because he's not even flying towards me, and he's also kind of closing the distance, which is a scary thought. I was pretty slow after fighting the Sakine. I need to get my speed up into the high 400s, maybe 500s to really comfortably engage this guy at this point in time. However, when he goes to my teammate at lower altitude, that makes me a little bit more confident. I feel like I have the advantage right now, and I would stick this fight if it wasn't for the fact that that Key 61 just got spotted, because that completely changes the dynamic of things right now. I would love to take the P63 into a stall fight. I wish I had seen the Key 61 earlier because I wouldn't be in this situation at all, but now I'm stuck running away from the P63 because if I engage him, then the Key 61 is going to come kill me in a third party fashion, and if I try to get slow and turn fight any of them, it's just over. So I need to run away, I need to get some distance, but again, like I said in the beginning of the video, the P63 can keep up with the Focke-Wulf pretty damn well, so I am outrunning him, and that's with an advantage. I had an energy advantage to begin with, and I'm barely getting away from him. I high-fived the ground, I took a couple of shots, I am very lucky to be alive right now, and at this point, I've got a 2 versus 1 that I really can't realistically win, especially without team help. And I also don't have any more 20mm cannons, so even if I do hypothetically get a lucky situation where I can get one clean, good shot in, the odds of my 4 8mm machine guns actually doing enough damage to get me in a favorable position are pretty low. But given that the Key 61 is focused on a teammate right now, I take a really risky choice to try to get into a position to be able to do a very quick and isolated 1v1 with the P63. I take a little bit of shots that thankfully didn't do any damage. The P63, however, is kind of experienced. He's not an idiot. Obviously, he's not just rolling over and letting me kill him, which is what I was hoping for when I turned to engage him, because I do not have the time to sit around and actually fight this guy. I can't risk getting third-partied by a Japanese plane while I'm slow and have no speed, and especially not without any cannons. So after the first turn or two, if he's not just kind of giving me the kill, I'm just leaving. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm low fuel, I'm low ammo, really no ammo. I've taken some damage. I have 2 guys on my 6 that I really don't want back there. The Key 61 seems like he's kind of going off and doing his own thing, but at this point, I'd rather just get back to base. Sure, it's using AAA to get out of a bad situation, fair enough, but I'm not going to camp the airfield. I just want some cannon ammo, and I need to repair and get some more fuel. Had this guy maybe had more 50 cal ammo, I'm not really sure what his situation is right now, but if he just started shooting at me from like 0.6 kilometers away, which he is right now, if he just starts spraying his 50 cals a little bit, he will reel me in, and he will get me close enough to just be able to finish off. I don't know why he's not shooting me right now. I think that was a big mistake on his part, but I'm not complaining. He gives me the opportunity to just keep on running away, keep on flying in as straight of a line as I possibly can to build up as much speed as I can. And I do actually end up making it back to the base in great time too, because just now he's starting to catch on that he can actually shoot me, make me maneuver, and slow me down. So I'm just going to cut the gameplay here because he starts to turn off at a certain point, I think about now, and I go land and take off again. And really, he never really left the general vicinity of the airfield. He was always about 8 kilometers away, so I took off and I started climbing the other direction, and once I had enough altitude to feel comfortable in engaging him, I turned in. I went for a shot as he's shooting my teammate, but he decides last second that he actually wants to take a head-on with me as well, causing us to collide, and I was pretty dang frustrated at that in the moment, as you'll see in chat. You know what though, you win some, you lose some. Overall, it was a fun game, it was an enjoyable game, and overall I just really like the Focke-Wulf 190A1 for that reason. You get a very funny, easy down tiers, and then of course your up tiers aren't that difficult either. You can still feel competitive, and it's just all around an enjoyable plane. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.